I can tell you, there is a real difference between an idea and a real business opportunity.
Many people fail because they launch on just an idea that's not a true opportunity.
An idea, we've all had that idea of riding down the road and thinking, oh, that would be really cool.
Ideas come in the door every day.
The problem with an idea, in my mind, is an idea is just an idea.
Many ideas, frankly, have no markets and no businesses, and they'll fail.
A lot of people have the idea, but a lot of the execution behind it is tough to come by. It's hard to understand how to take an idea and actually get it to the point where it's a full-service product or solution.
Everybody has ideas. They're a dime a dozen.
We come up with all sorts of ideas, and they're just not viable business opportunities.
The opportunity comes in recognizing the need in the market.
A good idea is one that there's a real market for.
A true business opportunity is an opportunity where there are customers that are willing to pay for it.
First and foremost, are there customers out there that want to buy your idea, that want to buy the product that you're proposing? If there aren't, why on earth are you starting this business?
The really great ones are innovative.
The pathway to bringing that product or service to market.
It's got to be able to be scalable.
A true business opportunity to me is when you have this idea, but you have the knowledge, you have the background to go with that.
I've got to be able to have a brain trust behind it. I've got to have a team, a support system.
Taking an idea into a product or an opportunity is really the real challenge, and that's where you've got to be objective and not fool yourself.
I've got to have a revenue model, and I've got to be able to sustain it. Otherwise, it's just an idea.
So they're looking to see that it meets a need, that you have some credible experience, that you have the resources, that you have buying customers ready to pay for the product right now, and that your business model is sound. And that constitutes a true business opportunity.
As I talk to parents, first of all, they want a beautiful place for their child. They didn't want to drop their child off into a dark basement or a dark building, an old building. They wanted lots of sunlight. They wanted to have a bright, cheery atmosphere for their children. And so we knew that our building was key. We knew that that was the first, most important part of our business plan, was building a building from the ground up that can fulfill these needs that parents have in order to satisfy their wants.
And the first thing is they have real evidence that there's a need there, that people have a problem, they have pain, they're looking for a solution. And usually they develop that understanding from being out there in the market, working in the business, or using the products.
That's one of the things we had by knowing several people in the industry, was able to go work with these individuals to determine exactly what it is their problem was, and was able to gain that information. We worked for several months before starting the business of identifying what the problem was, and now starting to identify some solutions before we opened the door and said, yeah, now we're in business, here we go.
The other thing that parents are looking for is cleanliness. They wanted to walk in and see they wanted to smell clean smells, and that was really important for them.
Opportunity is really the ability to take it to market and solve somebody's pain, create value for them that they're willing to pay you for.
They wanted low ratios. They wanted to make sure that their child had the one-on-one attention from the teacher so that they could learn at their own pace. And that's the other key. They want, every parent thinks that their child is the smartest child in the world, and so of course they want their child to be moving at their own pace and not held back by the group, by the class. And so they wanted to have those low ratios so that their child can learn at their own pace.
It is so easy to fall in love with a product. I think it's probably one of the things I learned by good and bad experience, that everything that you're exposed to creates kind of a rush of enthusiasm, interest when you're first exposed to it. And you have to have the discipline to be able to step back and get realistic with it. I think you have to really try to reverse things and look at a product through the eyes of a potential customer. You have to be able to generate that, what's become in common parlance, unique selling proposition. What is it about this product that is going to create an interest on the part of a customer to part with their hard-earned money to pay for it?
The main thing is being aware of needs, right? Understanding problems, pain points, what's going on out there. I try to teach students, every time you want to cuss, You know, you have some reason to you know, think something, be very frustrated. You know, think, okay, why, what's happening? You know, what is that pain point? Is there a way to fix that? Is there an opportunity there?
The more you understand the market, the more you understand the need, the more you understand the pain that you're solving for somebody else, so the value proposition, we could call it. You know, how much value are you creating for the customer? Because the more value you create for them, you know, the more margin you can create for yourself.
We just completed a study where we looked at 100 successful entrepreneurs and we analyzed the industry experience they had before starting their company. And only 3 of them out of 100 had no experience whatsoever.
It's funny, when you look at entrepreneurs, it's a lot of times an entrepreneurial get-together feels like an Amway convention. Everybody going, woo, yeah, I'm a winner. Let's hear it from me, right? But in reality, when you see real entrepreneurs get together, you know, over dinner and chocolate history, it's more like a skateboarder convention. Well, let me tell you how I got this scar, and let me tell you how I got that scar, and oh yeah, I remember the time I broke this. Only their business scars, their business breaks. Those are the things that really teach you to be good.
Are you the right person to be starting this business? Is your idea relevant to your experience? Has your idea come from an industry that you have intimate experience with? Do you have a credible position in that industry? Did the idea come while you were just sitting on the couch over the weekend, or did it actually come from identifying a pain point in the marketplace, identifying that there was something wrong out there, that there was a problem and you could offer a solution? Well, if it didn't come from that, then it's not a business opportunity. It's a great idea, but it doesn't mean necessarily that anybody's going to buy it.
They need some experience or credibility that will allow them to build this business. They have to be perceived as the right person to do that. And usually, again, they've worked in the industry, or they've used the products regularly, or they've worked in a related industry, and people believe that they can do this.
So you can come up with great value ideas. I want to cure cancer. Yeah, that's a great value idea, but is it feasible? Can you do it? Do you have the skill set? So there's feasibility, technological feasibility, and there's people feasibility. Are you the right person?
They really understand the composition of the marketplace, the industry structure, who the players are, what the size of the marketplace is, and many individuals do not do enough in-depth analysis to find that out.
We thought we knew a lot about the industry. What we found out is we knew very little about the industry. But we didn't let it stop us. We continued to learn, we continued to gain the knowledge. We had the contacts, so we was able to gather that information. And then from that information, then was able to take that idea which we had of creating a better solution for them and running with it.
I think a lot of educators will often start a school in a home or in a refurbished building or in different ways, but they don't have that business background. And so a lot of schools will fail because they don't have the business background or expertise to know how to create a marketing plan, how to create a need in the market, how to recruit customers, and how to retain employees.
We'd like to see that experience is there in some capacity with the company and part of the team. It doesn't have to be the entire team, but we definitely need to see some in-depth experience.
We've taken an educational background and expertise and put it together with business expertise to create a wonderful business that is successful.
I use an example many years ago. My wife, when we had our second child, and my wife's background is an early childhood ed, and she has her master's degree in that. And one of the things that she realized was that, you know, we have a second child now, and we're going to have to be changing 2 sets of diapers. So she was very adamant about potty training the first child. And she got looking at it, she came up with this idea. She said, you know, it's really hard to potty train a child if the child has to go to an adult and say, can you pull my pants down? You know, that's traumatizing. And she says, what they really need is a diaper that has an elastic waistband and that a little kid could pull up and down on their own. Now, you laugh at that because today we call that Pampers Pull-Ups or one of any other 2 or 3 other brands, right? But they didn't exist back then. And that was my wife's idea. It's a great idea? You bet it's a great idea. But for me, living at the time in Southern California, just fresh out of college, What kind of opportunity is it? I don't know how to construct a diaper. I would have to spend tens of thousands of dollars hiring people to help me do that, whether it be a design engineer and then maybe a process engineer to build the thing. I don't know what the content and the material is. And then even if I were able to do that, spending all that money, which increases risk, right? Anytime we spend money, we're increasing risk. How do I get it to market? As a standalone vendor, how eager is Walmart going to be to take my product on? And how do I even get in Walmart's door? You know, so those are all part of the equation that have to be there for an opportunity to exist, right?
So the key here is that you have some experience in that industry, and you take that experience in that industry and you find a product that there's real customer need out there. And you are developing a team around you that takes your maybe shortcomings and fills that in with somebody around you, and you have the great investors that are so important to any new venture.
You need to be able to pull together a management team to help you launch that idea.
They have to be able to put together the people and the resources to make it happen. So the resources may include team members, advisors, supplies, equipment, and funding.
We say that it's better to invest in an A team, an A management team with a B idea than in a B management team with an A idea.
A support system, a brain trust. I find that the most successful ideas have a brain trust behind them.
And the reason being is inevitably what the team starts out to do and accomplish, they have to change along the way. The term that's used a lot now is pivot. So they have to be able to pivot. And a team that has a lot of A players will be able to make that transition and do that quickly and efficiently, whereas a management team that doesn't have the experience and isn't necessarily a top-notch team may not be able to do that, and you have to replace the team and start all over again.
So there's research out there, for example, about entrepreneurial action, and people find these ideas and look at them and decide whether it's a good idea or not, and we'll say, okay, is this something that I can do? So it could be a good third-party idea. This is a great opportunity for someone else to do, but for me, maybe not. I'm not the right person, or I don't have the right team or the right resources, or I don't have, for me it's not feasible to actually act on this idea. So it's not a good opportunity. It's more of just a dream.
Another thing that's really important to a true business opportunity is that you have customers that have committed to buy the product right now. They're waiting for it. They'll pay for it as soon as you have it.
Are there customers waiting for this idea? Are there people ready to buy the idea?
It's a true business opportunity. There are people that are going to pay real money for it.
So it's about actually finding people who want to purchase or pay more for that idea than it costs you to make it.
A lot of times ideas are good ideas for yourself, and would you use it? Yes, but would a group of people use it? So usually when I would have a good idea, I would usually even pre-beta test that idea to see if people would use it by getting as much sampling as you can. Talking to people that you think would be your clientele and finding out if they actually respond to it the same way you do.
People either buy my idea or they won't. And if they won't, I don't need to worry about all the other hassle factor. If they will buy it, they'll either do it for a price at which I can make a profit or not. So the best way to start is to actually try to sell people a concept.
And sometimes you can co-opt your potential customers into your business and have them help you develop the product line. And they tell you that they'll buy it as soon as it's ready, or maybe they even sign a contract to buy it before it's even launched.
If you've got a solution that you believe companies are going to be interested in, that will save them money, if you can come forward with specifications and say, look, if I build something that meets these criteria, will you sign right now and say that you'll buy that product from me? Will you commit? Because everybody can give you lip service and nod their heads and tell you how interested they are, but if they're not willing to sign up for it, then you may run into challenges.
Find one or two customers, tailor their presentation their business plan, everything else to that one customer and go and get that one customer.
So it's about creating cheap prototypes and showing that to people and trying to sell something and get feedback immediately and understanding that or learning from that feedback and making changes to it so that you go in a new direction.
And in the process then of working with that one customer, they learn a lot and they can perfect and improve their business plan and their approach, and then they can go to the next customer. But it has to be very focused around the customer, not just about the idea or what's going to come up.
I did do an analysis of our competitors. I plotted out all of the competitors in the area. I did a lot of market research to see what they're charging and what their cost was. I put together a small group of parents to talk about, okay, what are you looking for in a business? I had a questionnaire that they filled out to say, okay, what do you need in a school? What are you looking for to really set a school apart?
Take your idea and survey it to people, a whole bunch of people, but see how much they would pay for it.
You know, when I look at my own history, it's some of my failures that have made me the most objective and the strongest, because, I mean, there are products that I had big customers that said, wow, that sounds awesome, we would love that product. And I've had resellers that say, yeah, we'll put it in our catalogs, we would love to sell that product. And you spend a year and you build the product and nobody buys it, right? So the ability to say, look, don't just tell me you would buy it, sign a document that says if I build it, you'll pay for it, right? And don't just tell me that you would use this product. Here, let me, create a minimum viable product. Let me come up with something that simulates it. And if your users won't adopt it, then I'm not going to build this.
I received phone calls almost every day from people that wanted to use the product I was selling in my retail stores. And these would be other fast food restaurants, hotels, casinos, convenience stores that say, hey, Mike would like to use that product you're selling in your retail stores. And I kept saying, no, 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 no. That's the heart of our business. These are proprietary formulas. And then I got 2 calls from 2 huge accounts, Maverick Country Stores and Hardee's Hamburgers. And I realized that if I sold to them, it would be $500,000 of revenue. So I got back on the phone and I said, I'm not going to sell you my product, but I'll sell you a similar product with a new name on it. Will you buy that? And they both said yes. So then we went out and produced this product, which we called Northern Lights, and sold it to those 2 accounts. And the first week, we had $500,000 of revenue booked for the first year from a buying customer that told us they'd buy the product before we even created it.
What is the business model? What is it, what is it about this particular product, not only that's going to be unique, that it's going to be attractive, but it's going to generate an income that's going to support an organization.
An important part of a true business opportunity is being able to have a real business model. An idea isn't going to get you anywhere if your idea isn't scalable, if it's not a product or service that you can buy for cheap and then sell for more than you actually purchased it for. Is this something that's going to generate revenue? Do you understand the channels of distribution? Do you understand the industry? Do you understand the suppliers, the competitors out there, the contacts? Do you actually have a model where you say, I've got a clear path for creating this product or service, selling it, making a profit, and then scaling it from there?
We see a lot of business plans that in actuality are just ideas, and they're not actual operable businesses. In my view, the difference between the two is businesses, we've got something that a customer wants, that they're willing to pay you enough that you can actually make money on. So you can pay your employees, you can feed their families, and at the end of the day, you've got more left over than when you started with.
I had an opportunity to work with a company one time. The company was 12 years old, and they had generated more than 100 patents. They had spent more than $20 million a year to create those patents, and they had revenues of less than $1 million a year. That's not a good opportunity.
You have to have a sound business model. You have to convince people that you can buy the goods and services at one price, sell them for a higher price, and make money off this business venture.
It's got to have a solid revenue model. Simply having an idea, I can give away a lot of product, but if I don't have a revenue behind it, I can't sustain it.
I would define a business opportunity as one that the entrepreneurs have verified that there is true exit potential.
Typically, I also look for scale. Achy Breaky Heart is a great song, but that's the only song he came up with. If it's a real business, you need to be able to scale it. It needs to be able to grow.
Scalability is very important. In the case of Winder, we've got a business that's delivering groceries, and it's obviously an enormous market opportunity. We see the market for people who want the convenience of home delivery and want, all natural and organic products as a very big segment of that market that we could capture a significant share of.
Dancing Moose opened its doors on day one with 6 students. And it was pretty frightening to open this large school with such few students and say we have such a long road ahead of us. It was really a blessing to start out so small because it allowed us to really grow slowly and listen to our customers and grow with the business. Today, 5 years later, we're at capacity with 280 students, and so it's been fantastic to see the growth that the school has gone through each year.
A lot of entrepreneurs don't really understand, hey, I've got this product, I've got this idea, and it's a product, and I can maybe sell that and make some money, versus I have this idea and it can be a big company, and then I can attract investment capital to create that company.
I want to see a list of the potential acquirers, and I want to see at least 3 of them, and I want to see real rationale as to why they would acquire that technology, service, business.
You need to protect your idea. If you're imitated, it becomes a commodity, and there's no margin in a commodity. So you need to be able to sustain your venture, whatever it is.
And then, of course, as we were looking at where to locate Dancing Moose, we had to be located in a large metropolitan area so that we could draw from lots of different areas. One thing that sets Dancing Moose apart is the size. And I think because of our economies of scale, we've been able to keep our ratios low and pay our teachers more because we have such a large school. But in order to fill a large school, we have to be located in a metropolitan center.
So essentially it comes down to the plan. It comes down to the product, the plan, and the ability to execute it.